What's up, guys? Welcome to another Ask Matt. As always, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and skip a few minutes. I'm just here waiting for some of you guys to get in so we can get some questions going. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and plug all the things. Follow my Instagram at Matt Loberstein if you're not already. I'm posting stories pretty much every day there.
What's up, guys? Dan here, and you know, I didn't always live like this.
Getting an ad because I'm in my own thing. I hate that ad. Did you hear that? Sorry, guys. Well, I'm killing time anyways. So yeah, there's a Facebook group in there. Make sure you get in there. I guess I'll say, just for those of you that did want to get into the course, that the $100 off does end this Sunday night. So if you're going to do that, you know, that's by, sorry, laughing at a comment. That's by Sunday night. So go ahead. You could tell what ad that was. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's because I go into my own stream on here, so I can just like look at the questions on my phone because I feel like that's better than like having to be on my computer. And then my volume was like full blast, so that's kind of hilarious. Anyways, how many do we have in here? I totally messed up and I didn't announce this one like anywhere. So hopefully some people got the notification and can pop in. If not, it'll be kind of maybe a short one because I didn't post it. So this is just the YouTube crew. Yes, this is happening now. This is live, so drop your questions in here and I'm going to start answering them. Let's see what we got. What are your thoughts on Shopify? I think Shopify is great. If you mean as a platform or if you're talking like Shopify drop shipping versus Amazon, I think you guys know I'm biased. I like Amazon, but both are an opportunity, I'm sure. I don't have experience with drop shipping in particular, but I do have Shopify stores for my brands that are on Amazon. So Shopify as a platform, great. Shopify drop shipping, doable, but I feel like you're doing the hard part, which is getting traffic. And if you're that good at getting traffic, then you should really just look into creating your own products anyways, because you're doing the hard part. I like Amazon because we can tap into all of these existing customers that are already there on Amazon ready to buy things. Whereas with Shopify, in terms of like drop shipping and all that, you need to figure out how to get people interested and get them to your store, which that really is the hard part. Where do you see your business in 5 years from now or even 10? I'm curious if you mean like Amazon in particular or just like me in general, because 5 or 10 years is a long time. I mean, I foresee myself like, I mean, I can't even imagine what my life looks like in 10 years. I mean, drastically different than it looks right now, that's for sure. So, you know, I'm not quite thinking that long term in regards to like Amazon in particular. I think it's got a long way to go, and I think that I will be in it for a long time more, but I don't know, about 10 years. I think I'll just be hopefully have sold my business and be moved on in 10 years. That's really long, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll still be going strong in 5 if I haven't sold out of mine at least by then, but the opportunity will still be there. And what else was in the question? Where do you see your business 5 years? Yeah, I mean, I hope that I see my business personally just like hopefully in a matter of a few years, I've scaled up dramatically higher than I am now, and that it looks a lot different than it looks now. So it's not just Amazon, but it's going to be other platforms, maybe retail, more of my own funnels, more of my own stores, things like that. And a lot more streams of income for me personally. You know, like I want to ultimately make a lot of money now while this is working, and then use that money to put it into other things for the rest of my life, you know, whether that's investing in real estate or starting new businesses, starting multiple different businesses in different areas, whether it's physical products or software or, you know, it could be anything. But yeah, I mean, that's been my goal over several years already, is that I always knew that like, it's like, what, I mean, are we going to do Amazon for the rest of our lives? Like, is that what you want on your tombstone? Is that you were an Amazon seller? So, I mean, Amazon is a great opportunity. Don't get me wrong. It's an amazing opportunity. It's changed my life. But, you know, I've always thought of this as an opportunity that I can roll into the next things in my career. Do you think it's bad to ship my first shipment directly to Amazon's warehouse. Personally, I would say if you're in the US, why not take it yourself just to learn the process, see how the labels are, check out the shipment, make sure the boxes are in good condition, all of that type of stuff. That said, you don't have to. You can go direct to Amazon, but make sure you're getting an inspection at your factory before it leaves. That is ultimately the biggest risk. You cannot have junk products arriving to Amazon, or you don't know if they're labeled, or it's just you're doing it blind. So yeah, you can, but make sure you're taking all the necessary precautions to be more aware of that. How were your college days at UCLA? What did you learn there? Any regrets? Why biology? Why UCLA? All the questions. So first off, I'd say why UCLA? I mean, my girlfriend and I, we wanted to move down to LA. She went to Long Beach. I just thought UCLA was, they had a major that I liked. It's actually psychobiology, so it's like psychology and the biology of psychology, basically. It's like neuroscience, but without the toe twitching, and more of the brain, more of the thinking, more of the perception, that type of stuff. And I was always really interested in that. But I had no idea what I really wanted to do, or I was wrong about what I wanted to do. We could make this a long college thing. Maybe that'll be a separate video at some point, just like my thoughts on college, or let me know if that's interesting to you guys. But I would say I don't regret it, but at the same time, am I using it? No. And so, but I don't know, it was interesting to me and it was okay. I didn't really do the whole college thing. Like I went to community college, then transferred to UCLA. My entire, like I'm lucky to have that I had a commute, because I would literally listen to business podcasts and business books every day on my commute. And I guess for me, it was that I already had a sunk cost. Like I'd already been doing these science prereqs for years. And like, at that point, I was like, I'm going to finish it anyways. I was already doing, e-commerce and stuff, but I couldn't like quit at that point. I don't know. My focus was on business even as I was finishing. So I was pretty checked out. What's an acceptable conversion rate? It's really going to vary by product and category. It's hard for me to even give you like a straight number, because some categories are just going to be much lower than others if it's a product that requires a lot more decision making. But on Amazon, it's possible to see 10, 20% or more, but at the same time, maybe 3 or 4% is normal for your category, whereas 3 or 4% might be really bad in some categories. It's just gonna vary. Do you use custom packaging for your products? Yeah, for sure. Definitely should do that. Thumbed up before it loaded. Thanks, Sammer. Yeah, if you guys can hit the thumbs up, I always forget to say that in all of my videos, but if you guys watch all my videos and you like these videos, if you can just always hit the thumbs up, it really does make a difference. It just helps me reach more people, and it'd be really appreciated. So hit the thumbs up right now and every time. Do you open separate Amazon accounts for private label brands? The easiest thing for most of you is just going to be one account for multiple brands. Unless you really know you're going to be sticking with these two brands from the beginning, then there are advantages to have it legally separated, such if you ever sold a business or something like that. But for most purposes, it's going to make it way easier for you to test new products and things like that. So, yeah. Gary Vee talks about how rare millionaires. However, I see so many millionaires pop up. What are your thoughts? I don't know. I guess it's rare, but like it's also so doable. And like you don't need to be a millionaire to be well off either. And like on some, you need to have that mindset that a million is both not crazy, right? Like at one point I thought making 100,000 a year was crazy. At one point I thought making $1 million a year was crazy. I'm not doing that yet, but I can now imagine it, and it's foreseeable. So, I think it's rare in terms of all people in the world or in the country. Yeah. Then like what's the average salary? Like 45 grand or something, 50 grand. I don't know, something like that. So of course it's rare, but at the same time, like I think one thing that Gary, kind of underplays is that sometimes he makes entrepreneurship almost sound so hard and so not for everybody. And I think that it's important to keep in mind that he's talking to people that literally come into his office and they want to build the next Snapchat. That is unlikely. That is hard. That takes a very special person. But I think the amazing thing about, given everything Gary says, given the access to this and things like Amazon or things like Facebook ads, given all of that, it is shocking how relatively average you can be and still have a potential to make several $100,000s per year. I really think that. I don't think you need to be the best of the best. I don't think I'm the best of the best. I just think I've done some things and made some things work right. So yeah. Hopefully that answers some of that. What up, what up, what up? Lots of what's ups. I am a bit buried at this point. Any tips on getting reviews? Always have an email follow-up sequence. That is really going to be the only safe way to go about getting reviews. Do you recommend starting with a cheap product, less than $15 selling price? No, I don't. Low price points are difficult because the amount of profit you're left with after all of the fees and costs is so low that it's going to be hard to go aggressive on marketing, which I'm all about going aggressive on marketing. Do you have your supplier place UPCs on your products? I put the FN SKU on my product, and that is what I suggest that you do. Let's see. Did you ever apply to any neurobiology jobs? No, I didn't. I was so, like I said, I was so checked out on the academic route by the time I actually graduated that I never, my diploma is still in the shipping envelope. I mean, it's like I never even looked up a job, let alone applied to a job, because I was already doing this. This is something I've talked about a lot, but it's never in my entrepreneurial career have I quit one thing and started the next. It's always been like leveraging some of the old thing to start the new thing. So I was already doing this. It wasn't like I graduated and was like, I'm going to do Amazon. No, it was like I had already been doing this and having some level of success. And then it was just, okay, now I'm going to go all in on this thing that I've been doing. Let's see. Besides flipping on eBay, did you have any other college ventures? It was mostly related around flipping on eBay. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't all eBay though, I guess. Like, for example, I've mentioned before that I mostly flipped phones and phone-related things and sold phone-related things on eBay, but I also did watches, for example, and those I was not selling on eBay. I was actually buying those on eBay and then selling them on watch enthusiast forums where people would know what they were looking for. So I was using eBay to sift through a bunch of random junk listings, taking that risk on, you know, some old person taking a photo of a watch like upside down and being like, I think I know what that is, and then taking it to like a place where people really have the eye and selling it for more there. I mean, that's whatever, but like I also did other for example, like I had a hustle that was related to selling phones, like where I would do like the unlocking service for people and stuff like that. So I would charge for that. But for the most part, it was eBay. Nothing else was really coming to mind around college time. It was really like flipping stuff from Craigslist to eBay and then AliExpress importing to eBay and then the watches. And I think that's really it around that time. How did you afford UCLA? Yeah, I got like scholarships and grants, and it was basically free. I got lucky with how much my parents' income was at that chunk at those years, and then I had some scholarships just based on my like academic stuff. So I mean, my cost to go to UCLA was like, I mean, I think it covered up like 100% of the tuition and then even some living expenses. And then I would always like buy my books like used and flip them back on Amazon and stuff like that. So there's so many like hacks like that. That was really something that, I mean, that was the first thing I ever sold on Amazon really. For years I had been always flipping my used textbooks. What are your thoughts on selling books? Have you done it? That's funny. I just sort of said that. I've never sold books for profit, but yeah, I mean, I would flip I would buy my school textbooks used on Amazon, use them, and then flip them back for the same price or sometimes a slight loss or sometimes even a slight gain. So, you know, that's a mentality that I've had my whole sort of life, which I think led me into selling, is that I've always realized the true cost of things. And this is something I've said before, and I plan to, is to make videos about watches and cars like this, because the true cost of things is a lot different than it seems. Like let me know if you, like, I've had this idea for like a YouTube video. It sounds super clickbait, but there's actually a ton of truth to it. It's like how to wear a Rolex for free or something like that. And the truth is that that's what I've been doing for years. Because if you can buy something that has already like stabilized in price and you can buy it, own it, and then sell it, then your true cost is zero in some cases. You know, if you like, imagine you bought a Lamborghini for $150,000, drove it for 6 months, and sold it for $150,000. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tangent, but I like talking about those things. Let's see. Is anyone in the Zero to Brand Facebook group that can tell me if it's active? Yeah, I mean, the group is just really getting going, but we already had 46 members from the test group. So those people are in the group. And then now we've already had like 30 something already get in there. So it's still getting started, but that's actually probably an advantage for you because that means it's going to be so much easier for you to get questions answered now, whereas in the future, if there's thousands. But yeah, you know, it's going to be the best place to get questions answered. Do you do your copywriting or do you outsource? That I do myself. Unless you're going to hire like a well-paid professional copywriter, that you would do yourself. Don't go with a cheap outsourcing route for something like copywriting. Copywriting is literally an art and probably even like a science on some level. I mean, there are copywriters that make a ridiculous amount of money off of writing copy that pushes people to sell. So copywriting is a serious thing. So most likely you're going to do that yourself. I recommend the book Cashvertising. It's a quick read, and that one was really good just for copywriting. I'm going to sign up for Matt's Zero to Brand course. Awesome. Thanks. See you in there. People are really liking it so far. I'm sure some people in the chat can chime in and say what they think so far. Do you have your suppliers make the packaging for your products, or do you do that yourself? You're going to want to have either the supplier of your product or some type of supplier. I mean, you're not going to like literally do it yourself. So either you're going to ask your supplier of your product what their packaging options are and then tweak based on that. And if that's not going to work for you, then you might need to contact a packaging supplier in the same region and have them send the packaging to your supplier, things like that. Let's see. FBA or Shopify? I actually answered that in the very beginning of this Q&A, so you can go back and check the replay after this. Start your own podcast. Yeah, I think that's happening. Again, I've asked you guys already, but let me know if you're interested in that. Drop a comment, let me know. But if I do it, it's not going to be an Amazon FBA podcast. It's going to be like, in general, deep dives into things that are interesting and all about just life optimization, business, health, anything that I'm interested in general. Kind of like Tim Ferriss show-esque. That's really my ultimate goal for it. So while I'm sure there will be amazing business owners on it and stuff like that, it's not going to just be like a podcast about how to do your PPC or something like that. Like I don't know. I just like strongly don't want to do that. So let me know what you guys think about that. Looking for some good questions. There are a lot of people on YouTube preaching Amazon FBA. If you have seen any of them, do you have any gripes against them? I'm never ever going to talk about other people because that's just, even if I hated somebody, it's just not my style. I'm just not going to like be like, that guy sucks. But, you know, the truth is I don't even really consume anyone else's Amazon related content. That's the honest truth. And the reason for that, and maybe you guys will agree, is I think it gives my content a fresh angle because I'm just coming in this and saying, what should I tell you guys, right? And I feel like my impression is that what a lot of the other channels do is they just all kind of like repeat what the last one said. It's like one does it and then they all, I don't know, like, so I'm just kind of trying to give my own angle on that. And I think that hopefully you guys, you know, get a lot out of that. Knowing what you know now and all the hard work that went into launching and learning and launching your first product, would you do it all again? And if so, what's the main thing that you would do differently? This is a question I've answered before, and it's a hard question to answer because it's based on timing. You know, this was 3.5 years ago. So are you asking, would I do something different 3.5 years ago, or would I do something different now? So, like the opportunity has changed for sure. Back then my advice would have been to take on millions of dollars in investment and launch 1 billion products, because I know that it worked and what I was doing worked. So I would have just gone way more aggressively, because truthfully it was more wide open back then. That doesn't mean the opportunity is not there now, but it just was. Nobody was talking about it. It just wasn't a thing yet. It became the hot thing like 6 or 12 months after I was already selling. So my first product launch was super easy. So I mean, now it takes more, and now I take a more patient approach. You definitely have to go about it with a more long-term approach from the beginning now. So I would layer on everything that I've learned in general onto my current product launches, which that would be a pretty long answer, but yeah. Let's see. Is the price listed on Alibaba accurate to the price when you negotiate with the manufacturers? No, I would absolutely ignore the listed price. You need to just get in contact with them. They're just going to put whatever they want there just to get you to reach out to them, really. So I would never trust those public listed prices on Alibaba. Looking for some good ones. Scrolling. As we do more and more of these, sorry about the pauses. It's just that I like to try to find some questions that are maybe new or something unique, something that I can go off and say something that I haven't said on previous ones. So that's why now I've been taking a little bit longer to try to pick out some good ones. Would you advise opening a different bank account from the get-go? Yes. Whether or not you're going to have your LLC ready for day one, you should absolutely have your finances split up. So even if you're getting started as an individual, which might not be the most, the most legally correct thing to do, though it's doable and you can always fix it and switch it later. That's probably what most of you would do. You're still going to want to have your finances split up, so it's not all commingled with your personal. So I would just open up a separate bank account, and then as soon as you see that this is something you're going to really do, then I would get an LLC and all of that. Do you recommend using your supplier's freight forwarder or use your own? I actually strongly feel that you should use your own. It's just that, I guess the short answer would be that you want to use a freight forwarder that is familiar with Amazon and won't just leave you stranded at different stages in the process. For example, if you use a supplier's one, they might quote you something really cheap. But then they might be like, okay, the product has landed at the port of Los Angeles. It's there. And you're just gonna be like, well, now what do I do? Like, you still need to hire like a customs broker. You still need to get it trucked somewhere. You still need to get your labels or pallets done for Amazon. So I like to control it. And that's why I use a freight forwarder that I choose, and they control it end to end. And they are freight forwarders that are familiar with the Amazon process. What additional research you do in suppliers besides seeing that they are gold, trade assurance, blah, blah, blah? Yeah, number one, well, okay, I guess there's my number one, and then there's sort of a given, which the given is, can they do what I want? And then the most important thing after that is communication, 100%. It's going to be communication. If you were to start over and had a budget of $20,000, how would you allocate the money? So first off, let me just say that is not a particular situation that I have done. So I might give advice here that is, typically I like to give advice of what I've done, because that's what I know. But I didn't have 20,000 from the start. And so I might go about it a little differently than I actually did. So I just want to preface it with that. I would say, you're probably going to want to start with 2 to 3 products that are strongly synergistic with each other. Like, they're in a brand nicely together. Like, people would buy them together, things like that. They make sense together. And yeah, you're probably gonna do 2 or 3 products, and maybe even, again, this is something I haven't done, but at this point I would really consider some higher price point products potentially, because not a lot of people are starting with $20,000. So I think that does put you into a tier where you could play with something that a lot of people can't. And that is where you find the biggest opportunities, I think. So me personally, now I'm starting to look for some products that are going to cost a lot more and might cost, well, I've already done this, but like I'm going to be doing it more, which is like if you have to invest $20,000 into a product up front, you know, not a lot of people are going to be playing that game. So I would kind of look at what you can do that not everyone can do based on your situation. Could you briefly explain the requirements of UPC, ASIN, and FNSKU for packaging? I am so confused. Yeah, let me just real brief. I don't want to go too in the weeds of this, but all you need to understand is that the ASIN, ASIN, that's Amazon Standard Identification Number. That is just a string of numbers and letters that identifies your listing on Amazon. Once you have a listing, there is an FNSKU tied to that listing. That is the barcode, that is the internal Amazon barcode. Now a UPC is your standard barcode. That's what you see on the shelf at Target on any product. You need to buy UPC codes to create your listing. Once you have your listing created, now you have an ASIN, now you have an FNSKU. It's just tied to that listing. The FNSKU is what you should put on your product. I know you've said it before, but if you want to launch a private label, how much capital minimum would you suggest for launch? You know, it's just, as you said, I've answered this a lot of times, but you know, it's a hard question because there's what's optimal and then there's what's possible. Is it possible to start with 500 or 1,000 or 1,500? Yeah, it's possible. It's not optimal. You know, I would say, you know, optimal is really like 5,000 plus. I like to say sort of 3 to 6, 3 to 8 feels right. But at the same time, like it's possible with less. It's just not optimal. To me, it's more risky because you're not going to have the capital to, you're going to be playing defense because you have this little amount of capital and you can't play with it, right? You can't throw money at things and see what happens. And I think the best, I've said this before, the best position to be in getting into this business is to be willing to lose some money. And not that you're going to lose money, but it's that you can play with money. You can try things. It's not your last penny, right? That's honestly the most safe position to be in. And obviously you're not all going to be in that position. So, you know, I've thought about making videos about this too, is like how to build up capital to do this because, you know, I don't think everyone should get into this. If you know, if you have $500, if you, even 1,000 is like, you know, it might not be the best thing for you. So, you know, you might want to go do some other things that can build you up at least a few grand so then you can play with it. Hey Matt, should I continue PPC when I'm getting roughly 10 sales a day but 3 to 5 without? I've spent around 250 and made around 600. Yeah, you're too early. You need to keep pushing. Don't worry about the ROI too much right now. You need to push through Amazon. Is 20,000 sufficient to start launching a new product? Yeah, more than enough. I would say like, you know, if we're talking optimal, so now let's talk optimal and not like minimum. I would say optimal is like 6 to 10 per product, and it's going to vary. You know, maybe you have variations. Maybe that's 2 products that are almost the same. But yeah, something like that. Top 3 watches of all time. What's your everyday watch? So the watch that I throw on the most often is my, you've probably all seen it in the vlogs or on Instagram. It's my 1971 Speedmaster Professional. That's the moon watch. So it's the first watch that they like wore on the moon. And mine's in 1971, so it's like just after that. It's not the most collectible one. The most collectible one is like the one that would be of the years that was actually worn or the earliest ones. So it's not like the most valuable, but that's the one that I just throw on the most often. It's just like easy to throw on. I don't know. I just grab it. The truth is I don't wear most of my watches. I just grab the one that's like closest. Of all time though, I mean, I don't even know if I could pick 3, but I love the early Speedmasters, like the 2915, like the first one. Those go for like 100 grand now. But that would be incredible. Or you know, I love you know, I would love like an early AP Royal Oak, just like the classic. That would be awesome, like with the blue dial. I'm into right now, well, and for the past few years, I've been most into Longa. So I'd love to get like a new modern Longa. Those are pretty, like, I'm mostly about vintage, but I like modern when it comes to Patek and Longa. So I would get like a, I mean, I like all the Longas. It'd be hard for me to choose, but we'll see. Or like a Patek Nautilus 5711 blue dial. If I make less than 50% ROI on my first lot, should I continue to sell it? Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, even if you break even on your first one, you might want to keep going. It takes time to get traction sometimes. What would you say about manufacturers going directly to Amazon? How can we prevent this? Should we be worried? No, I don't worry about it. They already do it. I already compete directly with manufacturers. And this is why brand is so important. Why is your product special? The manufacturers are most likely going to be throwing it up in a very generic way. So it's not that bad. Like, I'm selling some products for like, $25 that a manufacturer might have listed on Amazon for like 12, or products that I sell for 20 that they sell for like, I don't even know, like 6. I mean, it's crazy, but like, it comes down to brand and positioning. And that is something, that's where you have the advantage. So that's why branding is so important. What do you think about hijacking unbranded listings? It's just not my space. I don't want to speak to things that I don't know about. I've never really done that. Do you think that you can be too picky about products? I've done a massive amount of product research and still haven't found anything I'm 100% confident in. Could I be too picky? I think it's possible, but I also think it's a better problem to have than not being picky enough. I think that so many people are like, I need to choose my product immediately. And I'm like, no. Like, this is the hard part. This is the long part. This is where you take the time, because your product selection is 95% of the game, maybe more. We can talk optimizing and all the stuff all day long, but like, it doesn't matter if you have the wrong product. It's never going to work. And in some cases, you might pick the right product and do none of the other stuff, and it's just going to work. So, take your time with products, but at some level, if you've been doing it forever and you have some really confident choices, now you need to just jump into your best choice. Which one has risen to the top of your list? Let's see. Do you know if I'm able to pay manufacturer with American Express through PayPal? It's going to vary based on the manufacturer, but they'll charge you more if they're going to accept PayPal, and you're going to have to cover that credit card fee. I would recommend looking at Trade Assurance. That's Alibaba's own escrow payments, and it's actually the cheapest way, so I would look into that. What does an initial conversation with a wholesaler look like? I don't know if you're asking about wholesaler or like supplier. I don't deal with wholesalers. I deal with manufacturers or maybe a trading company in some cases. But truthfully, I mean, I think this is, like I said a second ago, product selection is the hard part. Sourcing is not the hard, well, I mean, it could be the hard part, but communication is not the hard part. I just like to get a conversation going. I honestly ask them what I need to know. I'll leave it at that for now, but I think people overthink it. They're like, do I need to have like a custom email address that's like at mybrandname.com before contacting my manufacturer? It's like, just like you're worrying way too much about this stuff. Like, just start talking to them, ask them the questions. Like, I just like to have a conversation with my suppliers. Looking. If you guys have not, hit the like button as I look for this question. Speedy Pro, yeah, that's the one that I wear pretty much most days. 1971. It's got the step dial. For a few of you that might know anything about vintage Speedmasters, it's got the step dial, and it's got the it's got like a faded ghost bezel. How do you research certifications you may need for products? Asia inspection? Yeah, you can. Asia inspection is actually a great way. They'll tell you what you need. You can also ask freight forwarders in some cases, or just good old fashioned Googling around and researching based on your product. Let's see. How long after launching your first product should you start your second? Also, can I be your case study? As for being my case study, I've been getting that asked a lot. I've already got like a lot of people sort of in my crew there, so I appreciate that, and I'm happy to help people as much as I can, but I can't really like just take on, more like one-on-one style, especially not for free. You can always pay for it, of course. You can pay for the course, or you can pay for one-on-one, but yeah, I mean, I can't just do, I have enough people already following my stuff that are paying for it, so I can't just help somebody because they'll be a case study at this point. Sorry, I'm sure you understand that I get pretty bombarded at this point. But as for the question, how long after launching your first product should you start the second? I would say you don't want to rush it too much, because you never want to take resources away from that first success. So the time to do the second product is when you have additional resources such that you're not going to go out of stock on your first one. You're not going to limit the growth or the traction of the first one. As soon as you have the money to be able to do that, then I would go ahead with the second one. Realistically, with $5,000 to $8,000, do you recommend one product? I'll just skip the rest. Yeah, one product. Unless it's two that are like basically a variation or some situation like that. But I would not go into two completely separate products with only $5,000 to $8,000. I would say that's one product. What is your highest concern when picking a supplier for a new product, thinking on the long run? Do you pick the cheapest when they may offer the exact same thing? I never pick the cheapest, actually. So I base it on quality, and I base it on communication, and I base it on their ability to do my hopes for that product and for growing together with them. Regarding your personal branding, did you read any specific books or listen to podcasts to help you build and what you have so far? You're putting out great content, man. Definitely want to do what you are doing one day. Well, first off, I really, really, really appreciate that. Truthfully, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for Gary Vee. That's the truth. I don't say Gary Vee is responsible for all my success because I was already doing all of this stuff, like e-commerce and all of that. But I do think if it wasn't for him getting into my head about documenting and doing, getting out there, I don't think I would have gotten tipped over to the edge to finally do this. So I would give it pretty much all to Gary Vee, watching Daily Vee, all of that. So, and then like no specific resource comes to mind, but I just remember hearing about personal branding on podcasts over the years. Like I know Andy Frisella did a podcast on it like 2 years ago that I remember got in my head a little bit. And I think more than that, it has been just me realizing, this is something I want to make a whole video about, but it's one thing Gary says is watch what I'm doing, not what I'm saying. And I apply that to everybody, not just Gary. And the people that I was watching have personal brands, obviously, or else I'm not watching them. And I've just seen that lead to so much leverage. Like if you know the Tim Ferriss effect, it's like he can mention something and it goes out of stock, And that power is very interesting. Being able to be a person of influence, and not in like an influencer way, that could be a whole nother discussion, but like somebody who actually has influence is extremely interesting and very powerful. So that I'm hoping to be a micro Tim Ferriss, or like a micro Gary Vee, or whoever, fill in the blank. I'm just using that as an example. But I think that is such a huge arbitrage, and not to like milk it or not to like manipulate it, but just to have long-term impact and long-term, just the ability to launch something, the ability to bring awareness to something. I think that, and also that you can play this for life. Like it almost blows my mind to think like, yeah, like I'm so thankful for the level that this following has got to now, but like, what could this be in 30 years if I continue doing content for my whole life or something? Like, then it's just like, whoa, like this could really, really be massive. So, yeah. That probably answers some of that. Went on a little tangent, but the watch what I'm doing, not what I'm saying. You guys should apply that even to me. I think that building this platform is very important, and I think that it's something that pretty much everybody should be thinking about. And I'm really glad that I finally took the leap into doing it. Do you feel like Jungle Scout's estimated sales are accurate? So they're never going to be 100% accurate. You should never use any of these tools as 100% accurate. But I think it is a great way to get a rough idea of what's going on. I think it's great for that. But no, you can never look at it and be like, well, that's the exact amount of revenue, because there are fluctuations. BSR means something different every day, technically, because it's just saying that this is the 5,000th best selling item, for example, and whether that's 10 units or 12 units, or whether the BSR is changing every day too. So it's never going to be perfect, but yeah. I noticed Amazon raised their fees today. How often does this happen? I think they do it yearly. Sometimes they go down in some areas, sometimes they go up in some areas. So it is what it is, but yeah. Looking for a good one. Let's see. Will you review a product for us if we are in your course? So I thought a lot about how to handle like the one-on-one aspect of the course. And I think the honest truth is that anybody that would promise that it's just too much of a stretch because I might get so blown out at some point. So I never wanted to make any promises that I could not fulfill forever. And because I just feel like that would be unfair, that'd be marketing it in the wrong way. So the Facebook group, for example, if you posted like a Jungle Scout screenshot, I mean, I'm so on top of that. And here's the real answer. The sooner you get in, and I don't mean this to be like a sales tactic, it's sounding like that, but what I mean is that truthfully, the sooner you're in, the better chance you have of having access to me. Because the longer this goes on, the more people I'm going to have in there. So, your chances of getting a product looked at by me right now, if you're in the course, are really high. But I just don't want to put any massive promises out there because, there could be thousands of people in this course in a year or something. And I don't want to promise something that I can't always bring up my end of the deal of forever. So that's just the truth, is that I know I'm probably going to get so blown out at some point, but I am doing my absolute best to give that one-on-one, like, you can shoot me the product and I'll take a look. But I just don't want to like make promises like that. Let me know if that makes sense and how that sounds. Let's see. Do you have any siblings? Yeah, I have one older brother. And were you originally from LA? And no, I'm originally from Northern California, Napa, California. Moved to LA 4 years ago, a little more. I think that's right. I'm looking a little bit more. We'll wrap up in a few minutes, but I always think I'm going to go really fast through this, and then I get into my role, and I just keep going. Anyone watching the replay, if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. Much appreciated. There's a lot of good content already on the channel, and there's a ton more coming. Do you build brands specifically to sell eventually? Have you sold any brands or speak to that strategy? So I have not personally sold, but I'm always thinking about the potential to sell, whether or not you ever intend to sell. I think that having that mindset built on is going to, you're going to build it in a way that is sellable, which is going to make it more valuable even for yourself. So definitely a good thing to think about whether or not you want to actually sell your brand or your business someday. Video quality is on point. What camera setup are you using? This is my Sony a7S. Actually, everything's in the description. It's all in there. You can just check it out down there. There's links to literally all the camera stuff that I use. Even for the live stream, I have a little thingy that allows the main camera to go into live streaming. Let's see, a couple more and then we'll wrap up. Matt, thank you for your honesty and all your content. I will be launching my first product soon. You have been a real inspiration, and I really like how humble you are. You are different from the others. Well, I really, really appreciate that. I mean, I'm always trying to be honest and transparent and just give my own sort of, I never wanted to make this channel to be the guru, and I still don't. I don't claim that I'm the leading expert at anything, to be honest, but definitely not at everything. I'm just sharing the things that I've done, where it's gotten me to, and the response to that has been amazing. A lot of people have wanted to learn from me just based on that, but I'm continuing to learn. I am continuing to progress. As I even said at the very beginning, like, this is not my end career thing, like, this is a thing. This is a chunk of my life, I don't know if that even makes sense, but yeah. Let's see. Looks like I'm about to catch up. How much do you spend monthly on subscription fees? Jungle Scout, Tax Jar, etc. I mean, I've never specifically added it up, but I don't think it's more than a few $100s if I were to add them all up. Yeah. What you just said is what I have found myself too. A lot of the gurus just say the exact same thing. Sometimes I see new courses and they are exact copies. Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't take a course. I'm never going to lie and say that you need a course. But I do know is that my channel and my course, I highly don't think any of them are just like it, because like I said, I'm not regurgitating. Like I personally, like I'm just over like consuming this content. Maybe it's just because I'm sick of it after a few years of, consuming so much Amazon content and all of the stuff. And it's like, I think what makes my channel unique is that rather than just me showing you like, a screen sharing of like how to use Jungle Scout or whatever, like I think what I'm giving you guys is more valuable. I hope you agree. And it's the how to think about it, how to have the lens, how to like really map this out, and not just how to click a button. Like you guys can figure that part out. I don't need to tell you that like you need to click the submit button after you like do something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's not what I would want. I think the most valuable things are, I think it's higher level to just give you the framework for how to think about it and what to do, of course, as well. And that's part of the reason that the course is there for the people that want more of like the step-by-step, like now do this, now do that, you need to do this. That is definitely part of the reason why I created that. But yeah, I mean, I like I said, my angle is that I have my own angle, I would like to think, and I hope that you guys agree, because I'm just doing what I think is valuable to you guys based on your responses and not just based on saying the same thing over and over and over. So let's see. Looking for one last question maybe. Or, I'll just wrap up there. That was great. I really appreciate you all being here or watching the replay. I will just say, just because I know some of you do want it, that $100 off for the launch week of the course, that does end this Sunday night at midnight. So if you do want it, if you are going to jump in there anyways, you might as well save the $100 before this Sunday night. So link to that is in the description. Link to all the things are in the description. So click all the links, push all the buttons, do all the things, and I will see you guys in the next one.